Speaking of the fact that there's more differences as just speed when you contrast an elite runner to the average runner. Um, if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you can't think like an average person. Now, kind of going back to that statement, you define what extraordinary means. Whatever that is to you, define it for yourself. And go back to what I just said. If you want to accomplish something extraordinary, you can't think like an average person. Okay? And the reason, again, that I teach through running is that if you learn to do extraordinary things at wherever you are as a runner, you can transition that, you can transfer that to life. So who knows what the men's and women's marathon world records are? Men's 2:15:25 for women. Men's 2:03-ish. 2:02:57. So I did some calculations, and I have these conversations. I don't know if have had this conversation with any of you before, but if you want to know how fast that is, go to a high school track. Okay, so for the men's, the average 400-meter split is just over 71 seconds, 71 point something. If I've calculated that correctly. I did it on the fly. So go to a high school track, mark where you start from, and run as hard as you can for 72 seconds and stop. And then look back at where you started and recognize that the world record holder in the marathon can do that 105 times without stopping. That's extraordinary. Right? So, but it's not just talent. Extraordinary athletes think differently than the average person. And I've used these pictures before. So I'm going to come to you. Sorry, those watching at home, I'm going to leave the camera for a second. I want you to look at these pictures. What's the difference between these two groups? Nothing?
One looked like they were relaxing and just kind of scrolling, and the other one looked like they were more in stride.
One group was wearing a lot less clothing.
One group was wearing a lot less clothing. It's true.
One group was working together, and the other one.
One group was working together, and the other were working separately. So I'm reading this book, and I really encourage you to read about the history of running because you will learn a lot. The book is called 2 Hours, and it's about the possibility or the quest for someone to break 2 hours in the marathon. So if you're wondering, that's 4:34.8 a mile. 71.2 seconds a lap, high school lap. And it's very theoretical. And of course, just like the 4-minute mile, if you study the history of that, there's people that say it can't be done. And do you know what happened, by the way, after Roger Bannister broke 4 minutes?
Andy broke his record.
A bunch of other people did too. After years of having people say it can't be done, once somebody did it, and the elite runners realized it could be done, other people did too. And now what's the world record in the mile?
4:47.33.
It's more like 4:42, 4:43. I'm sorry, 3:42. Yeah, 3:42, 3:43. if you want to achieve extraordinary things as a runner, in a race, you can't do it like these people. Okay? You have to do it like these people. Okay? These people are working together. They're competing with one another, not against each other, at least at this stage in a race. Right? They're not thinking about how they feel. They're very focused on what they're doing, not on what's going on around them. What's the woman in the front of this picture thinking of?
How she looks.
How she looks to the person taking the picture, right?
Hey, I've learned that one.
So, in the middle of the book, 2 hours, one of the athletes talks about how to break 2 hours in the marathon. And he describes this setting where you have a fast course set up, but the secret is that you get some of the world's greatest runners together and you pay all of them equally if any one of them breaks 2 hours. You know, so on that given day, no matter who does it, they're all rewarded. And he said that's how you do it, right? So when you're racing, particularly in a group like this where you have the benefit of training with people that are near your pace, but even if you don't in a race, you can use the people around you to work together. Take the focus away from, you know, the big picture, how you're feeling, how far you have to go. Capture the moment, be in the moment, and work cohesively with the people around you. Some people even shift their focus away from themselves and start helping the person beside them, right? Which is a great way to help yourself achieve exceptional things. Like everything that we teach here, you can't start doing that when race day comes. You have to practice it on Tuesday nights. Okay, so during these workouts, starting tonight, it's much better, it will be much better for you to work with the people around you and practice that as a discipline than it will be to run 1, 2, 3 seconds faster per repeat. Okay, and ultimately start to get spread out. And I know that's hard for some of you, based on where you are compared to other people. But let's start working on that tonight, and start to help yourself and the people around you think differently, you know, about what you can achieve, and practice the mental disciplines around that while we're together.